very nice painting of Srimati Radharani. Yes? How many persons here, this is your first Radhastami celebration in an ISKCON temple? Yeah? Okay. Okay. You also? Yes? No. No, you've been here many times. Okay. So one of the things we like to do traditionally in the Hare Krishna movement is there's a very nice song by Narottam Das Thakur that glorifies Srimati Radharani. And before we begin the song about it's Jaya Radhe, Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate, Gokula Taruni, Mandala Mohite, etc. Radhe, Jaya Jaya Madhava Jayate. But Narottam Das Thakur singing names of Radharani. And a little background, just so that we're all focused in the right direction. Who is Radharani? So we've been discussing Radharani a lot prior to Radhastami, just in preparation. But we'll say a few things. She's a very important part of Krishna's spiritual potency. Krishna's spiritual potency has a nice Sanskrit name. His Swarup Shakti. Swarupa, his own Swarupa, his own form has spiritual potency, Swarup Shakti. And that internal potency or Swarup Shakti has three divisions. And the nice Sanskrit terms. The easy ones that you all know, Satchitananda. A little more means the same, but Sandini, Sanvit, and Ladini. Sandini, existential potency. The eternal existence of the Supreme Lord is maintained and supported and manifest by his Sandini potency. And that his knowledge-giving potency, Samvit potency, is also there. Samvit, Sandini, and Ladini, and that's Srimati Radharani. She is the pleasure-giving potency of Krishna. She gives Krishna pleasure. That's what she does. She has expansions and subpotencies and so on, but she gives pleasure to Krishna in the best possible way. And both in the spiritual and the material realm, that is to say, from time to time, yada yadahi dharma shaglanir bhavati bharata, from time to time Krishna comes and manifests himself. Srijam Yaham. He manifests himself in this realm. And he comes at a times when there's discrepancy in dharma. Dharma shaglanir bhavati. When that arises, Krishna comes. And of course there's discrepancy in dharma all the time. But when it becomes acute, he comes to restore dharma. And does many other things. But when he does those many other things, when he comes with Radharani. And we've been hearing there are different days of Brahma when Krishna appears, in different ways that Krishna appears, in different ways that Radha appears during different days of Brahma. It's variegated. Krishna's not a stereotyped person. He's the supreme person, very flexible. So she is the pleasure-giving potency. So we honor her, especially on her appearance day. And then many nice things. We'll just cover some of those nice things after singing this nice song. Are you going to be able to do that? You're having a problem with harmonium? Huh? I can't hear you. You can. Okay. So this is the first that we'll hear this. This is the refrain. It says many times, Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madh. So we'll hear that again and again. And we'll come back again and hear the translation. But just for now, we'll just sing together in responsive. Radhe Jaya
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava
Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite.
Tarani Mandala Mahite.
Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite.
Gokula Tarani Mandala Mahite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya Madhava
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava
Damodara Radhe Vardhana Veshe. Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipineshe.
Radhe Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Veshe.
Damodara Radhe Vardhana Veshe. Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipineshe.
Radhe Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Veshe.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Vrishabhanudadi Navashashileke. Lalita Saki Gana Ramita Vishake.
Anudhati Navashashileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake.
Vrishabhanudadi Navashashileke. Lalita Guna Ramita Vishake.
Anudhati Navashashileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate.
Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite.
Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate.
Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite. Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite.
Karunam Kurumaye Karuna Parite Sanaka Sanatana Vanita Charite.
Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite. Sanaka Sanatana
Kurumayi Kuruna Parite Sanaka Sanatana Varnite
राधे जय जय माधव गायते राधे जय जय माधव गायते हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama
जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय श्री राधे
Read the translation. Oh, Radha, O Madhava's beloved. Oh, you whom all the young girls of Gokula worship. All glories unto you, all glories unto you. O you who dressed yourself so as to make Lord Damodar love you more and more. O Queen of Lord Hari's pleasure grove, Vrindavan. Then the refrain, Madhava Dayate. O new moon arisen from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu. O friend of Lalita. O you whose virtues delight Vishakha. Jaya Madhava Dayate. O most merciful goddess. O you whose divine qualities are sung by Sanaka and Sanatana Kumara. By, O most merciful Radha, please have mercy on me. So this is Narottam Das Thakur, just focusing on Srimati Radharani in her personal feature. Of course, it's a very appropriate song, a very common song to be sung on Radhastami. So we're going to spend a little bit of time discussing Radha. As mentioned, she's the Hladini Shakti, or pleasure potency, of Krishna. And this is her function, whether she's in Goloka Vrindavan in the spiritual world, or she's participating with Krishna in his pastimes in the earthly realm. Is a nice painting, Radha and Krishna on a swing together. This Julan Yatra, very nice festival. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Radha's name is not mentioned. We've discussed this. Radha's name is not mentioned by Sukadeva Goswami because if he mentioned her name, he would enter in such a state of ecstasy that he couldn't speak much more. So he didn't say her name. He just referred to her without saying her name. Because the name and the person named, namino, the name and the person named, on the spiritual platform, they're non-different. However, in other Puranas, her name is mentioned, and in the Shruti portion of the Vedas, she is indicated also, not by name, but by her position. For example, in Vedanta Sutra, everyone knows what Vedanta Sutra is, or Brahma Sutra, Anandamayo Bhyasat. She's the Ananda Maya feature of the Absolute Truth, because the Vedanta Sutra is revealing the nature of the Absolute Truth, and the Absolute Truth, by its essence, or his essence, has Ananda. So he, Krishna, the Absolute Truth, has the Ananda portion of him indicated directly in Vedanta Sutra. Always with his pleasure potency. And the nature of pleasure potency is it takes two. The enjoyer and the enjoyed, the subject and the object, the abode of love and the object of love. For there to be pleasure, there's two. Therefore, it's simple. For that purpose of manifesting happiness or spiritual pleasure, the one entity, Radha Krishna, the energetic and the energy, Radha Krishna, they manifest as two forms, and they engage in exchanges with one another. That's what pleasure potency does for the source of everything, Krishna. She stimulates his love, although she is his potency. So there's interactions, and that's in this world it's Leela. Of course, there's its spiritual counterpart in the spiritual world, and therefore they, in the spiritual world, they also exist eternally in two forms, Radha Krishna. But the Radha Krishna presence is one entity. Here's a nice verse. We're going to refer to many nice verses. This is a nice verse. It's rather long, but it's from Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 4. So those of you that are not so familiar with Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4 is focusing on Radharani. And many of you, at least some of you, will know the verse itself. Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Ladani Shakti, that's Radha. Ladani Shakti Asmat. Ekatmanavapi Bhuvi Pura Deha Bedam. So there's two forms. Deha, Beda. There's Eka, there's one entity eternally manifest in two forms. We'll say it again. One entity, Ekatmanav, Api, although one entity, eternally manifest in two forms. Third line, Chaitanyakyam Prakritim Aduna Tad Vayam Chaikyam Aptam. Although these two forms, Radha Krishna, the pleasure and pleasure potency, it's the reservoir of pleasure and the pleasure potency, two entities. These two forms become one form in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. So Krishna Swarup, his own spiritual form, is manifested as one form. Chaitanya is one form, not two forms of Radha Krishna, but one entity. So he's manifesting both Radha Krishna in one entity. The Swarup of Krishna, but the luster and the bhava of Radha as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So here's the translation. The loving affairs of Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. The loving affairs between these two, they're manifest by her. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now, these two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to him who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radharani, although he is Krishna himself. That's a nice description of who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I'll say it again without reading the translation, just simple. Eternally situated in two forms, Radha is one form, Krishna is another form. Those two eternally situated forms are one entity, the energetic and the energy. Krishna and Radha, the energetic and the energy, two forms. So there's loving exchange, so because it takes two. It takes two to tango, they say. So it takes two. That's loving exchange. But when that loving exchange manifestation of two becomes one, it's the Swarup, or this Krishna himself, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was Krishna himself, but he takes on a golden complexion. Therefore, Gora Hari, or Gauranga, the golden form of the Supreme Personality Godhead Krishna, in the complexion and the bhava of Radha. And then there was a second verse that goes along with this one. Here's the translation. Radha and Krishna are one and the same, but they've assumed two bodies. Thus they enjoy each other, tasting the mellows of love. So that the two is for the sake of loving exchange. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I'll say it, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was time for his appearance, Krishna himself was considering, I'm the unlimited supreme. So there should be nothing that I cannot do because my powers are unlimited. But to taste the happiness that Radha feels, I have to become the subject and taste the happiness of the object. But I'm the object. So I have to take on the position of the mood of the subject. The lover appreciating the beloved, the object of love. So that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna himself, in that mood of Radha. And therefore, he was able to exhibit the highest stages of the love that Radha has. And it wasn't so long ago, 500 plus years ago, Krishna himself displaying before the eyes of worldly people, privileged but worldly people, persons that have material bodies, and have taken their birth from mother and father in this world in the way that everyone else does. And they had the opportunity to directly experience, and that's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna cannot enjoy anything that is internally different from him. So, internally, because everything that exists within Krishna, and Krishna can manifest whatever he wants to because everything is within him. So his pastimes with Radharani is, we had this little discussion the other day. In our tradition, just like here's Radha and Krishna, and we don't find worship of Krishna without Radha. We don't do it the other way. We don't have worship of the Shakti without the Shaktiman. But in some Vaishnava traditions, they just worship Krishna, or they worship Vishnu, or they worship one of the Das avatar forms, without the consort. And how's that to be understood? Why do they do that, and why do we have Radha always by Krishna's side, or Sita always by Ram's side, or the Shakti always by the Lakshmi by the side of Narayan? Because there are traditions, Vaishnava traditions, They worship. That's like Udupi Krishna, very celebrated deity, and there's no Radha by his side. Why? And we discussed the understanding of some traditions is all of the avatar forms of the Lord, they're manifestations from Vishnu, Mahavishnu. And Mahavishnu, we will never see a painting with Mahavishnu with the goddess of fortune. Because the goddess of fortune, Rama Devi, is within. She's not manifest externally. She's within. So those Vaishnavas that worship the avatar forms of the Lord, their understanding is the Shakti is within. Not Lakshmi, or by whatever name she is manifest with that form of the Lord, she's within. And they're enjoying their pastimes, not to the vision of everybody, but they're enjoying within. And Gaudiya Vaishnavas understand as Radha manifested along with Krishna, so we worship with Shakti and Shaktiman. That's our practice. And we worship. We make offerings. This evening, we're going to be discussing a nice pastime where Radharani, every day, as part of her daily Ashtakaliya Leela activities, she goes to Suryakund. She goes to Suryakund and worships the sun god, Suryadev. And there's reasons we'll hear this evening. But one time when she was at Suryakund, she went to take a bath in the sacred waters of Suryakund. However, when she set her golden crown on a stone, it made an impression in the stone that's still there in one of the temples. Is this okay? You're okay. Fine. So that's good. There's a Mukut Shila. Her crown or Mukut made an impression, melted the stone. And there's still the Shila at Suryakund in one of the temples, in the Gaurnatai temple, where her Mukut Shila is still seen. And it's very clear. There's a similar situation by the side of Govardhan Hill. That's another story. So she acts to give Krishna pleasure. She's the manifestation of Krishna's pleasure potency. And then those who she interacts with, just like here, she's interacting with some peacocks. And the peacocks are enjoying her association. And she's giving happiness to them. Here's a nice comment. Hladini Shakti is the aspect of bliss by which the Lord gets pleasure and also the devotees are nourished. By this, he possesses transcendental bliss, and also it causes his devotees to experience bliss. You know, it's very simple. The happiness of a devotee, the happiness of the lover, is the happiness of the beloved. When there's pure love, the other person who I love, when they become happy, I become happy. Their happiness is my happiness. So when Krishna comes with Radharani and Krishna becomes happy, then the devotees surrounding Krishna, or the devotees in association of Radha, they also become happy because she's the happiness potency or the pleasure potency. of the personality of Godhead. So she makes Krishna happy, and she simultaneously makes all the devotees happy or blissful. The bliss of devotional service is the manifestation of Radharani's presence, or the medium to engage in service to Krishna is Srimati Radharani. That's how we have access to him. Here's another verse from the same chapter. The very name Radha suggests that Srimati Radharani is eternally the topmost mistress of the comforts of Sri Krishna. As such, she is the medium transmitting the living entity's service to Krishna. Clear? We serve through Srimati Radharani, just like the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Whoops. Just like the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. A very simple way, Prabhupada's explanation of what it means when we say Hare Krishna, we're approaching the energy. Hara is another name of Radha. So, oh Radharani, Hare, please engage me in service. The medium through which our service is extended to Krishna is through Radha. When we chant the mantra and when we engage in any activity. So, there's deities, and Radha is the medium. She's the devotional service personified through whom the deity worship is carried out, or the devotees in the kitchen. I can hear some devotees in the kitchen. I'm sure there's a bunch of devotees in the kitchen. And, the Prabhupada taught us that the kitchen is Radharani's place. You want to find Radharani, go to the kitchen. She's engaged in cooking for Krishna. And the devotees that are engaged in cooking for Krishna, they're servants of Srimati Radharani. It's very simple. It's very simple. I think it's simple as simple. Simple, like spiritual life is simple for the simple, and difficult for the crooked. Very simple. Here's a nice for example. For example. What makes this is an older building in a whole row of many older buildings, and this one we call a temple. And anywhere you can think of where there's a temple, it's whether it was a residential building and now it's something else, or whatever it was, and maybe it was new construction, something. But what makes it a temple, different from all the other buildings? Let's say this one. They're all, it looks from the outside like they're pretty much built around the same era. Red brick, certain style, certain size, certain shape, certain this and certain that. This one's a temple and the other ones are whatever they are. So what makes this a temple? What makes it a temple is it's where Krishna is served. And the deity of Krishna is here, and the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is here. And this was Lord Chaitanya's mission, and our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and others that in turn chronologically may also be serving Krishna, establishing newer and newer temples all over the place. Proliferating every town and village is the mandate. That's a lot of places, a lot of temples. And what makes it a temple? It's where Krishna's name is chanted. Because where Krishna's name is chanted, Krishna's there. Because Krishna's not different than his name. It's really simple. You want to build a temple? Chant Hare Krishna. And in course of time, because of chanting Hare Krishna, the devotional service, more and more and more persons engage in devotional service. They want to have a temple. That's how you get a temple. Chant Hare Krishna. Again and again and again, in association with others, in Sankirtan, congregational chanting. Devotees in Vrindavan, therefore, seek the mercy of Srimati Radharani in order to be recognized as loving servitors of Sri Krishna. Next verse. Radhika Hayena Krishnera Pranaya Vikar. Srimati Radharani is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is this internal energy called Ladini. The essence of the Ladini potency is love of God. The essence of love of God is emotion or bhava. And the ultimate development of emotion is Mahabhava. Sri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhava. She is the repository of all good qualities and the crest jewel among all the lovely consorts of Sri Krishna. Her mind, senses, and body are steeped in love for Krishna. She is Krishna's own energy, and she helps him in his pastimes. A nice glorification. This chapter 4 of our Body Leela is very nice. The beloved consorts of Lord Krishna are of three kinds. Three kinds. Goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis in the Vaikuntha realm, the queens in Dwarka, and the milkmaids of Vraja. For the foremost of all these consorts all proceed from Radhika, which means they're her manifestations. Let's do it again. The goddesses of fortune in Vaikuntha, the queens of Krishna in Dwarka, and all the gopis, they're all expansions of Radha. That's a lot of associates of Krishna in different realms, but they're all expansions of Radharani. Just as the fountainhead Lord Krishna is the cause of all incarnations, so Sri Radha is the cause of all these consorts. The goddess of fortune, the goddesses of fortune, that's the Lakshmis in Vaikuntha. They're partial manifestations of Srimati Radhika, and the queens are reflections of her image. Partial and reflections. So it goes on. Greatness of Radharani's love. Love means there's no self-interest. Only one thing, satisfaction of Krishna. Now, love, we discussed, love can be of different kinds. According to the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, 5 principal rasas. And love is in any one of those 5. Love without service is incomplete. So love with service, that's dasya. There are many nice devotees of Krishna that are in dasya ras. And friendship ras and parental affection ras. Conjugal ras. But they're all love where there's no self-interest. Only the satisfaction of Krishna. We discussed this during the last couple of days. So continuing on with this 4th chapter, the desire to gratify one's own senses is kama, or lust, but the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema. The desire is not a problem, it's how it's directed. And if the object is my senses, that's a problem. And the object is Krishna, then that's not a problem. It's prema. Revealed scriptures describe pure love as follows. Here's a nice definition. This is again Chaitanya Charitamrita. If there is ample reason for dissolution of a conjugal relationship, and yet such a dissolution does not take place, such a relationship of intimate love is called pure. Nice definition. The author of Chaitanya Charitamrita asserts with authority that sexual love is a matter of personal sense enjoyment. Acts of sense gratification may be performed under the cover of public welfare, got a long list here, nationalism, religion, altruism, ethical codes, biblical codes, health directives, fruitive action, bashfulness, tolerance, personal comfort, liberation from material bondage, progress, family affection, or fear of social ostracism or legal punishment. But all these categories are different subdivisions of one substance. What's that? Sense gratification. But above all this is a transcendental stage in which one feels himself to be only an eternal servitor of Krishna, the absolute personality of Godhead. All acts performed in this sense of servitude are called pure love of God, because they are performed for the absolute sense gratification of Sri Krishna. However, any act performed for the purpose of enjoying its fruits or results is an act of sense gratification. Such actions are visible sometimes in gross and sometimes in subtle forms. Now, in Krishna's pastimes, particularly Krishna's pastimes with Radharani, because this is her appearance day, in Krishna's pastimes with Radharani, it may look like sense enjoyment. So here's a nice painting. We heard already she's being dressed very nicely by her maid servants and fanned and this and that, but she has only one purpose, one focus of her mind, and that is pleasing Krishna. She doesn't think anything else. So there are activities that look like sense gratification between one gopi and another gopi, or one gopi and Krishna, etc., etc., etc. But there's only one thing going on, and that is Krishna's happiness. That's the very nature of the spiritual realm. Lord Krishna in the Adi Purana, Krishna speaking to Arjuna, there are no greater receptacles of deep love for me than the gopis, who can cleanse and decorate their bodies because, they cleanse and decorate their bodies because they consider them mine. Krishna speaking this to Arjuna in Adi Purana. And this is the nature of spiritual loving exchange, which is totally the opposite, a totally different principle than the material principle of sense gratification. Nice painting of Radha and Krishna on a swing. The gopis taste a pleasure 10 million times greater than the pleasure Lord Krishna derives from seeing them. The joy of the gopis lies in the joy of their beloved Krishna. So he enjoys happiness by seeing them, and their happiness is 10 million times greater than his happiness seeing them. That the subjective part of their happiness is Krishna's happiness. And it's an amazing statement, 10 million times greater than Krishna's pleasure. The happiness, this is the same chapter 4 of Adi Lila. The happiness of the abode of love is the happiness of the object of that love. This is not a relationship of desire for personal gratification. Whenever there's unselfish love, That is its style. The reservoir of love derives pleasure when the lovable object is pleased. When the pleasure of love interferes with the service of Lord Krishna, the devotee becomes angry towards such ecstasy. Like there's a nice example. There's a devotee that's fanning Krishna, and as he's fanning Krishna, his arm is trembling out of ecstasy, and he condemns this trembling arm. It's interfering with my fanning Krishna. The ecstasy ecstasy is not the purpose. Krishna's happiness is the purpose. You flip it the other way. Just anyway. I'm going to tell something anecdotal. Sometimes people suffer a lot, and it's painful to see that sometimes extreme suffering. Then one thing to the next thing to the next thing. I'll just say it. There's a nice devotee somewhere in the United States, not around here, and he and his wife have had one chronic hospitalization illness after the next, without all the gory, the wife had a major part of her insides taken out because there was a certain type of cancer that was spreading. And the surgery was terrible. Anyway, details and details. And now she's back in the hospital because it's reoccurring, and then he has this medical problem that's also very serious. And they're from one thing to the next thing. There's a lot of suffering. A lot of suffering. Very unfortunate. So you can go in this end side of the pendulum swing or that side of the pendulum swing. So that side of the pendulum swing is if the devotee is experiencing an ecstasy, but that ecstasy is interfering with their service, they condemn the ecstasy. Because they don't want their ecstasy, they want Krishna's happiness. That's the desire of the devotee. Whoops, excuse me. Here's a chart. We're going to spend some time on Radharani's childhood pastimes. But before we do her childhood pastimes, some of us were together seeing this chart. At the top, there's Radharani. And Radharani has a brother and a sister. Older brother, younger sister. Sridham, older brother. Alangamandri, younger sister. And then there's the whole family tree over there. That she has a mother, Kirtida, and she has a father, Vrishabhanu. He's the very special person. He's very dear friends with Nanda Maharaj, who's the king of the cowherds, but he has his own group that he's like king of. He has his own little kingdom within the larger kingdom. And gives the names of everybody. So for some of you that haven't seen this chart, it's just a lot of names. But we've been discussing one by one. Like here's one. In the lower right side, Mukhara. We've heard her name many times. She is Radharani's grandmother. And she had a very important role to play. She wasn't just grandma. She was very involved in Radharani's life. Naturally so. Her maternal grandmother. Her mother was very involved in Radharani's life, and her grandmother was very involved in Radharani's life. And she is a very important person in this Leela. She's an eternal associate of Srimati Radharani in the spiritual world, and she has her place in his pastimes of this world. Here's some nice paintings. This is Radharani is toddling, and there's her mother, Kirtida. And the place where she's toddling in, this is in their ancestral home in Varsana. Some of you have been to Vrindavan. Many of you have been to Vrindavan, probably. And Varsana is a very nice place. Up on a hill, there's two main hillocks. One is Varsana, where Radharani lived, and then not so far away from that place is where Krishna's ancestral home, or his father's, Nanda Maharaj's ancestral home. Nandagaon, or Nandagram. And so this is a palace. They both were very important personalities. Yeah. We don't have time to go through all these narrations, but it'd be nice to do. But this is a little deity of Radharani crawling. There's a little girl, and worshipable form of the deity. We'll do a quick, because this is Radhastami. One of the days of Brahma when Krishna appeared, Radha also appeared. Narada Muni understood, because Krishna has appeared, Radharani has also. He wanted to see Krishna in his baby form, because Narada Muni has the power to travel anywhere in the universe, in the spiritual and the material realm. So he knows Krishna in the spiritual realm, but he doesn't know Krishna in his childhood pastimes, because there's no birth pastime in Goloka, but there's a birth pastime in this world. So he wanted to see Krishna in that form. When he found Krishna in that form, he also wanted to see Radha in her childlike form. So he came to Vrindavan searching for a young girl. And he made some arrangements so that Radha, who was born as the daughter of Vrishabhanu and Kirtida, but she was blind, deaf, and dumb. She wasn't blind, deaf, and dumb. She didn't want to say anything, didn't want to see anything, didn't want to hear anything other than Krishna. She's very chaste, very, very loyal, very devoted to Krishna. So she didn't open her eyes. She, little baby, any baby doesn't make any noise. No such thing. So Narada Muni found the parents. They introduced him to their little child, and said, "You're a sadhu. Surely you can do something. Maybe you can make her well." So there's details and details which we've already narrated, but Narada Muni literally worshipped Radharani in a private way. And then there's some mantras, but to make the mantras effective, you have to have a big festival. We'll have a big festival. Invite all the people to honor the appearance of your newborn child, even she's blind, deaf, and dumb. That's okay. Have a big festival. So when they had the big festival, Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda came, and they brought little Krishna. And little Krishna toddled his way into the room where Radharani was lying in her baby crib. And as soon as he saw Radharani, she immediately opened her eyes and cried out loud, and she wanted to only see Krishna. She certainly saw Krishna. And when they heard her crying like this, they came running. They were so happy. Now there's a nice song. We're not going to sing it, but it's a song by Narahari Chakravarti. There's the title of the song. And here's the verses of the song. On Radhika's birthday, no one in Vraja could remain peaceful. With great joy, Nanda, Yashoda, and the others went to see Vrishabhanu at his home. We went to see the newborn child. Vrishabhanu greeted Nanda, and Kirtida greeted Yashoda. In the courtyard, the cowherd people showered each other with yogurt, turmeric, and other similar substances. Joyfully they danced. There's you can see the Sanskrit. This is a Sanskrit song by Narahari Chakravarti. There was a great tumult of splendid instrumental music, so loud that no one could hear any words or conversation. At that moment, unseen by others, Krishna entered a private room where he gazed at Radhika's beautiful face. Moon-faced Radha gazed at the splendid handsomeness of dark Krishna's face. She could not turn her eyes away. Narahari Das, that's Narahari Chakravarti, says, I can't imagine what nectar the divine couple tasted as they gazed at each other. This is on the appearance of Srimati Radharani. That's the day that we're celebrating, and that's the topic of his song. The very beautiful painting of Srimati Radharani. Very beautiful painting. When Krishna saw Radharani, Krishna, overwhelmed with love, told Radha, this is now later in their life. This is a pastime. The essence of all worship is to worship you. If someone worships me without first worshiping you, they'll get no result. You're my Mahabhava Mayi, pleasure-giving potency. You derive pleasure by giving me pleasure. You do not expect anything from me except my association and service. Thus, anyone following your process of worship will be very dear to me. Without your merciful glance, none can attain me. And then he goes on to say, Krishna speaking to Radharani, you are chief among all the Gopangas. You are greater even than Yasomati. And she'd take exception. What? Your character is like a debauchee. I do not believe in your words. Yasomati is your dear mother. How can you say I am greater than her? What's the reason? Krishna's reply, very soon you will see. Even if she is saying that you are her daughter, very soon you will see that she will come to catch hold of your feet. So Krishna is making a pledge to Radharani, and he's enacting a pastime. So here's the pastime. No, some of us have heard this pastime in the last few days, but you can hear it again. And those of you that haven't heard it, it's nice to hear it for the first time too. On one occasion, at the end of the day, Krishna's herding the cows, the gopis got together with Krishna and they were starting having some fun. They were dancing with Krishna, deriving great pleasure being with Krishna. And they were clapping their hands and Krishna was dancing. And while all of this was going on, this was a problem for Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda heard that the gopis, at the end of Krishna's fatigued day of herding the cows, they're having him dance. So she came quickly and asked the gopis, what's going on? What kind of behavior is this? My Gopal spends all day grazing the cows. He's tired. He needs his rest. You brought him here to play, and now you're having him dance. Don't do this again. She's Mother Yasoda. She's got authority there. She's the wife of the king. She's the queen. And she's saying, don't do this again. So they say, your Gopal is home in bed, sleeping. He's tired from his day's activities. And this Gopal that's with us, he has similar features, he has a similar name, but it's two different persons. You go back home and you see your son is asleep. So she went back home, and sure enough, she found Krishna sleeping. So she was happy to see her beloved Krishna taking the rest that she knew he needed. But she went back to where the Sakis were playing and asked, what's this? Are there two persons with the same feature? How is this? Where did you find your Krishna? She's buying into the idea that they're of similar feature. They just have the same name, they have the same features, but they're two Krishnas. Where'd you find your Krishna? They look the same, they sound the same, and then the gopis say, Mother Yasoda, this particular Krishna, your Krishna is your Krishna, that's fine. But you're telling us to take our Krishna to your house, so you want to see them dance, but they're not the same. If we take them to your home, how are we going to tell which Krishna is our Krishna, which Krishna is your Krishna? So they said, we're going to put some chandan on his forehead, white chandan. Big mark on his forehead. So now they went together to his home, to Mother Yasoda's home. And the two Krishnas were dancing. And they were dancing and dancing and dancing. And after some time, they became one Krishna. Yeah. They said, this Krishna that's here, do you have any idea? They're not the same. Your son is a cowherd boy. And he grazes cows all day long. He doesn't have knowledge of love, but our Krishna is the incomparable jewel. And he's done all these, they describe his pastimes. They bewildered Lord Brahma and taught him many lessons, and that's our Krishna. And Mother Yasoda said, wait a minute, my Krishna did all these things too. So how are there two persons that did the same thing? I'm confused. They said, you go back and you'll find your Krishna sleeping. And sure enough, she went back and saw her Krishna sleeping. But then she had this bright idea, let them dance together. So they started dancing together. Krishna's dancing and Krishna's dancing and Krishna's dancing. And then her Krishna, they merged into one Krishna. And she wanted to know, where did my Krishna go? Because the one that was still remaining was with the big chandan on his forehead. And she panics. How can I live my life without my beloved Krishna? She started to faint. So the gopis turned and where did my Krishna go? You're taking away your Krishna. You must give back my Krishna. All of you were making him dance. You must have hidden my Krishna somewhere. This is your trick, Radha. You know many tricks. Yashoda, with great pity in her voice, said, I do not have 5 or 7 children. I have only one child. He's the wealth of happiness for both his father and mother. Oh, Radha, my life air is about to leave my body. Please give me back my Krishna. Save my life. I'm catching your feet. From today, I will become your maidservant. Krishna made a promise, right? You're the queen of Raja. You're my elder, my worshipable mother. Why are you catching my feet? It's a great offense on my part that you are catching my feet. What are you speaking these bad words? And how can I find your Krishna? where do I go to search for him? What to do now? This is Radharani speaking to Krishna. Your mother, who was carrying you in the womb, is now dying in front of you. Please tell me what to do now. Krishna's got an answer. He said, you tell Yashoda, go back. You want to know your Krishna is? He's asleep in his room. You'll find him. And there he was, asleep in her room. She had all faith in Radharani's words, because Radharani never spoke a lie. And there was Krishna sleeping in his room. And she then picked up her son with great affection, embraced him. And the young gopis, they left to go to their home, but they didn't just go straight to their home. They performed wonderful rasa dance. And that's the end of that nice pastime. We're drawing a close to today's presentation. Here's a nice, one of the, along with the loving attraction between Radha and Krishna, sometimes Radharani becomes angry. You know, between lover and beloved, sometimes there's anger. But in her case, it's not the anger that lover and beloved have in this world. It's a transcendental, increasing the happiness of Krishna kind of anger. So you see she's looking out of the corner of her eyes. Krishna has tears in his eyes, and Radharani has tears in her eyes, but it's a certain kind of love. And you can see from the painting in the background, there's some other gopis overlooking to see this loving exchange between Radha and Krishna. So her existence is to give Krishna's pleasure. Now, this looked like he's not having pleasure. He's crying. But it's a different kind of crying than the material crying. And it takes a transcendental brain to understand that these tears of Krishna is not like a mundane personality's tears, that he's losing his girlfriend or something like that. It's not that kind of crying. It's a transcendental feature. Now, yesterday, I'm going to do this quickly. Yesterday, because of time, yesterday we heard the Mukta Charita pastime, that's the pastime of the pearl pastime. Many of you are nodding, so you know the story. I'll tell it a little differently than we told it yesterday. This is a narration or a book written by Raghunath Das Goswami to honor Srimati Radharani and to honor the loving exchange between the two. The narration begins. Do we have to end to do something? We're okay. You're just listening. Okay. You know the pearl pastime? You know the pearl pastime? I'm asking you, the pastime of Krishna and the pearls? No? Listen carefully. So the painting that you see on the screen, this is Satyabhama, one of Krishna's wives in Dwarka. And this is the way it's normally narrated. I heard that in Vrindavan, you had a pearl garden. You grew pearls from a pearl tree. Is that true? And Krishna lapses into a remembering of being in Vrindavan, but he controls himself enough to narrate the pastime. And the pastime is on Diwali day, in the month of Kartik, Radharani and the gopis were to celebrate Diwali. They were making some ornaments. And the place that they had assembled was a place called Malyahara Kund. And so Krishna came to the gopis, asking the gopis, for some of their pearls, so he could decorate his 2 favorite cows. And the gopis didn't even pay attention. And then Krishna spoke, "Excuse me, but you appear to be proud of your newly found adolescence. Could you please respond to my question? Can I have some pearls to decorate the horns of my 2 favorite cows?" And Lalita sarcastically said, "Our pearls are not sufficiently great and good enough for your cows. You'll have to find some better pearls than these pearls." It was, sarcastic. So Krishna said, "I'm going to show you. I'm going to create pearls from a pearl garden." And they laughed. Pearls from a pearl garden. So he went to Mother Jasoda. He asked Mother Jasoda, "Can I get some pearls from you?" And he explained his reason. I'm going to go quickly because of time. And she, tried to tell him you can't grow pearls from a pearl garden. But he was insisting and insisting and insisting, and because of her love, she gave him some pearls. And he went by the side of the river Jamuna, and he planted his little pearl garden. And he took milk from his cows, or from the family's cows, and watered the pearl garden with milk, along with Jamuna water. And in a few days, these little sprouts came out of the ground. And he was very excited. He wanted to show his mother, "Look at this. There's the pearl garden. You gave me some pearls. Look at this." And in a few more days, they were supplying berries, pearls. So he was very excited. And then the gopis heard this was going on, and they scoffed and said, "Oh, there's no, it's thorn trees, not pearl trees. Let's go look." When they went to look, they were surprised. They get the fragrance of the pearls, everything. It's just very nice, very lovely description, detail-wise. And so then the gopis, they didn't want to be one-upped. They said, because Krishna now has all these pearls and we denied giving pearls to him, he's never going to give any of his pearls to us. We'll make our own pearl garden. He did it. We can do it. So what did they do? They went to their mothers and they secretly took some pearls from their treasury and they made their own little pearl garden. But it didn't come out pearl trees, it came out thorn trees. And they were in trouble because they had taken pearls from their parents' treasury. So now they had to go back and get pearls. So they came, there were 2 gopis in particular, very gifted at bartering, because young Vaishya girls, and they like to barter. They took some gold in a gold box and were ready to offer some payment for some of Krishna's pearls, because they knew he wouldn't give them some. And Krishna denied, as they denied him. These pearls are so special, and any amount of gold that you have is insufficient. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, bartering. The gopis described they were in big trouble. And you have so many pearls. You've decorated all your cows. You've decorated all the peacocks. I think this shows the peacocks. All the peacocks, all the monkeys, all the living entities in Vraja are decorated with your pearls. There's a little monkey down below. He's got a nice pearl garden. And they started crying. We're in big trouble. We have to get some pearls to put back in our parents' treasury. And as they were very, very sad, Krishna said, "All right, I'm inspired. I'll make one garland of pearls for Srimati Radharani. And as he made one garland of pearls for Srimati Radharani, he became so inspired, he gave a garland of pearls to each one of the gopis. And Radharani's got a lot of gopi friends. And so the crisis was over because they now had the pearls to give back. And Krishna decided to enjoy that not only he gave them pearls, but he's feeding the swans with more pearls. And Radharani is very happy. She's reciprocating. She decided to prepare a big feast for Krishna because he's so kind. No more bartering. Now it's friendship again. So now I'm going to end because it's 12:44. There's more katha, there more slides, but it can go on. We've been doing this we have 2 more classes in addition. So we'll see you maybe one of those classes that has yet to come up tonight or tomorrow evening. In honor of Srimati Radharani's appearance day, we're going to have a Pushpa Abhishek, yes? So we'll see if there's some discussion, and then we're going to move on to the next activity of our program. Thank you all for coming. The temple was filled up. Srimati Radharani ki jai. Any discussion? Thoughts about Srimati Radharani you want to share?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Just an appreciation for our Acharyas and Goswamis. Krishna and Radha are 2 forms and one living entity. One thing is to realize and one thing is to write it down, and we are able to relish today because of them. Thank you so very much for presenting it to us.
That's it. Okay. Rendering service by sharing the messages of our great acharyas with others is a great opportunity. One thing I heard just this morning was Prabhupada gave an example of 3 places where in the Bhagavatam, the person who is asking some question, the person who's being asked the question is very happy. And the response of the person asked, it says, "You've given me an opportunity to speak something about Krishna." Because the question is in relation to Krishna, it's in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the happiness of the person, being a servant of our acharyas, who have taken so much time and effort, not trouble, but time and effort, to give transcendental teachings about Krishna and the associates of Krishna and Srimati Radharani and so forth. To share those teachings with others, it's a great privilege, it's a great happiness. So to be with all of you on Radhastami and share the pace with which we did this is not so nice. I'm not happy with it. But you're kind and you understand these pastimes quite well anyways. Embarrassing, huh? Did you shut it off so it won't do it again? Yes? There's a little button you can push and it will shut it off. Okay. Someone else?
Hare
Yes.
Krishna Maharaj, thank
Yeah.
you for the beautiful explanation of Radha and Krishna's pastimes and all. So today while coming towards the temple, we were reading the Nectar of Instructions,
Ah.
where I got the information that Radha Kunda is the topmost sacred place in comparison to Vrindavan, Mathura and Govardhan Dham.
Wow.
And one more thing, I was like, I didn't understand a thing that was even the advanced devotees like Narad Dev was not able to achieve the Radha Kunda.
Yeah.
So for that, I wanted to know if you could explain in brief about
Yeah.
the story of
Yeah.
what was the reason
Yeah,
for
sure.
that. Thank you so much.
Narada Muni is a Vaikunthavasi. Narada Muni is not a Golokavasi or Vrajavasi. He's a Vaikunthavasi. And therefore he's not able, one can enter when one has a particular mood, and the mood of recognizing this is the topmost place. Now he has knowledge, but he's Vaikunthavasi. Those who have that Aishvarya feature within their system, they don't have the capacity because of that Aishvarya feature in their system. They don't have the same Madhurya feature that is the qualification for entering into Mathura, or excuse me, entering into Radhakund. It's a very special place. I mean, not only Radhakund, but the whole of Vrindavan. But the Radhakunda within the whole of Vrindavan is a very special place because of Srimati Radharani and the love of Radharani. Therefore, it's a very it's especially sacred place. But your question, why Narada Muni didn't have the access to Radhakund, he had different bhav. It's a little bit like, the pastime where the goddess of fortune, she heard about rasa dance, and she came to enter the rasa dance, but she couldn't enter the rasa dance because she has a different bhav, Aishvarya bhav, and she underwent great austerities for a long time, and she was still not able to enter into because she's the saint, she's the Shakti of the personality of Godhead, Narayan, but her mood is different. Same. So sometimes that's a question or a topic to be discussed. Goddess of fortune undergoing austerities. Goddess of fortune undergoing austerities. Mm-hmm. And still she couldn't enter? And she's the goddess of fortune? What's that? Different bhava. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Quick question. I know Krishna appeared 5,000 years ago.
Yeah.
How would we, nowadays, we will recognize those type of reincarnations from, in today's time?
Well,
and,
by Shastra. The starting point is Shastra. These three, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. But the ruling principle above the Guru and Sadhu is Shastra. So if someone is going to be appearing as an avatar of the personality of Godhead, it's into Shastra. Say it the other way. Supposing somebody comes along and either they say or their followers say he's an incarnation. So what are you supposed to do or I supposed to do? Is that in Shastra? Is this an incarnation according to Shastra? And then according to Shastra, then there's some symptoms or lakshana, some characteristics. If the time is right and so forth, then that are the characteristics manifest. So if it doesn't match the characteristics and the statements of Shastra, then we smile, but we don't accept. Okay. Maybe a nice person, or they have some powers or something. They have some mystic cities and they can do some nice things. That's nice.
So where would I find that type of information in the Shastras or in Bhagavad Gita?
Well, the next incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead comes at the end of the age of Kali.
Okay.
That's already known. Kalki Avatar. And until then, there isn't another incarnation.
Okay,
From Shastra.
got it. Thank you.
Sure.
All obeisances, Maharaj. Thank you.
Go.
Thank you so much for a nice lecture. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have a bit of a philosophical question.
Okay.
Earlier, you flashed a slide from Krishnadas Kaviraj where he said that, Radha and Krishna have come together in the form of Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Yes.
I remember reading this a long time ago, and I was always kind of bewildered. It's kind of like the philosophical argument that scientists have, which came first, the chicken or the egg, right?
Oh, okay.
So my question to you is, who came first, Lord Chaitanya or Radha Krishna?
Well, here's a nice answer. They're both eternal. Here's, one of the books I like is Sri Brahma Samhita. You're familiar with that book. So in Sri Brahma Samhita, in Bhaktisiddhanta's, very impenetrable language, very high language, he speaks of the quadrant of Goloka. And the quadrant means four. So the four parts. There's Vrindavan, there's Mathura, and there's Dwarka. But there's four. So what's that four? What's the fourth? The fourth is Sweta Dweep, the White Island. So many places, you've been around for a while, so you probably know very well. Navadweep is sometimes also known as Sweta. The reason Navadweep, the earthly Navadweep, is also called Sweta because it exists in the spiritual world. This is the counterpart of that. So the quadrant is where Lord Chaitanya eternally resides. Lord Chaitanya, I'll say it again. Lord Chaitanya eternally resides in Goloka, in one of those quadrants. So here's the get ready for your mind to be unleashed. Those who are followers of Lord Chaitanya become a nice follower of Lord Chaitanya, and you go to Goloka, Vrindavan, and you'll have two forms. Anyone who's a follower of Lord Chaitanya, in Gaura Lila and in Krishna's Lila. Just like Gaura Godadesh Dipika. You've heard that title before. Gaura Godadesh Dipika is a book by Kavi Karnapur, in which Kavi Karnapur identifies each personality in Krishna Lila, which could be in Gaura Lila. Who's their counterpart in Krishna Lila? Everyone, simultaneously. So that's mind-blowing. It's not like there's two souls. You will become two souls. You'll have two forms. All of the eternal associates of Mahaprabhu have a place in Goloka, in one of the quadrants with Lord Chaitanya, and one of the other places with Krishna. But Lord Chaitanya accommodates everyone, and Krishna accommodates everyone, but he has different locations according to the mood. Vrindavan mood. Like, this is your question. Why Narada Muni couldn't enter Radhakund? Because its mood wasn't right. Didn't match the place. So Krishna has different places, and Lord Chaitanya's associates, they're from all the different places. And they have their love for Lord Chaitanya and their loving service for Lord Chaitanya, and that's in Goloka Vrindavan. So back to your question, which comes first? They're both eternal. Simultaneously eternal. And then sometimes Krishna comes and sometimes Lord Chaitanya comes. and they come with their associates. And then when their pastime is over, they go back to the place where they came from, Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, it's 1:00. It's time for the next